So these guys are friends. They're here in the morning. They get ready to go cave diving, and they're all excited, and they head off to the park. And about lunchtime, I was up here eating lunch, and I was just finishing my lunch, and I'm walking into the kitchen, and the shop's right downstairs, and all of a sudden Patrick comes flying through the door. Come on, we gotta go. I'm like, okay, where are we going? And he goes, Benny's stuck. You got to get him. Okay. So my guys have my gear ready at all times. We have a checklist of what goes in my truck so that nothing gets forgot. And they already had the truck in the driveway loaded. I went downstairs. My scrubbers were packed but not on my harness. I had my harness ready to go in about 7 minutes. Throw it in the truck. Patrick's in the driver's seat, truck running. I hop in the passenger seat, and off we went. Now, after I just survived cancer when they said I wouldn't see 2023, and I'm trying to get myself back in shape because I shriveled down to nothing, one of the nurses of the doctor who told me that I would not see 2023, she said, you're doing great. He must not be done with you. And as we're driving to the park, I went, is this why I'm still here? So all these rescues, and what she said, he's not done with you. You've got stuff to do. So I said, is this why I'm still here? And so I'm figuring, I'm going to do another rescue today. And of course, the sheriff's department had the gates open. We zoom into the park, and Patrick goes flying right into the grass area where you're not supposed to go, right to the water, almost with the truck. And he says, you get your suit on. And he's shuffling gear. And so I'm suited up in 2 minutes, and I'm in the water, and I'm gone. Now, when the call first came in, first thing we always tell them is the cave's closed. Don't let anybody else into the cave. And I do that for a reason. It's too friggin' dangerous in there. So there was one guy that called the shop. The dive buddy of the stuck victim had yelled that this guy's trapped, call Ed. He's stuck 900 feet back, 800 feet back. So Stacy tells him, cave's closed, nobody goes in the water. And this guy's a known explorer, and he says, Ward and I are gearing up, we're gonna go help. And she said, no, the cave is closed. Ed's adamant about that, nobody goes in. Okay, I'll tell Ward. So he runs over to the water, and Ward's just getting ready to go in, and he's yelling to Ward. Ward's kind of hard of hearing. And Ward goes in. Ward's a very, very, very experienced cave diver, and he's done some body recoveries as well. Anyway, he's trying to tell him not to go. But Ward didn't hear him, and Ward just takes off. So Ward's in there, and he's going in, and all he knows is what the victim's buddy had said, that there was a trapped diver, lost diver in the cave. So he's going along, and there was another team coming out of the cave. And so he stops them, and it's near zero visibility. This guy had really mucked it up. And he stops them, pulls his wet notes out, and said, are you the lost diver? And hands it to the divers. And they said, no. And he said, will you help me look for him? And they said, no. And then they left. And they exited about the time I was going in. And they were on their boat when I came in, and they don't like me. So then they saw Ed here. Oh, well, we better go back in. And then they were told by more people and the sheriff's department that no, the cave was closed. And anyway, I go in, and I get back to where I was told he was at. At 800 feet, there's a little jump. And so I start into that, as I start into that jump tunnel, I see Ward over here. It kind of goes in and drops down and hooks around. And he was right here, still in the main tunnel. But if you go past where the line starts, there's another way you can get to it. And he's looking in there, but doesn't want to go in there. But when I go in, he starts to follow me. And I said, no, stay, hold. So he's holding there. I go in and I search the entire tunnel, and it comes out 100 feet up the cave a little bit. And he's not in there. And as I go in, it's really bad viz, but as I go in, the further I go, the clearer it gets. And I'm like, yeah, he's not in here. So I get back to the main line, and I'm coming this way, and it's fairly clear up there, getting worse as I get closer here. Ward's there, and I said, you know, he's this way somewhere. So we turn around, and there's a breakdown right there, and at the other end of the breakdown, there's this crappy little tunnel that this guy put in that should never have been put in. It's a dangerous line. It doesn't go anywhere. It's too short to be of any significance, and it's pointless. And I thought, well, I need to check in there. But then I thought, well, I know he's not going to be in there because it's too small. And this guy's a pretty good-sized guy. I said, he's not going to fit in there. And as soon as I go around the corner, there he is. And he's already deceased. So, and it was right where, I mean, it was within 10 feet of where these guys were writing notes. Would you help me look for him? And that guy that said, no, I will not help you look for it, is the same guy that put that tunnel in. So, anyway, he was only, from the start of that tunnel in, he was probably only in 15 feet. And to get him out, I have it all on video, to get him out that 15 feet took me about 20 minutes. And I'm pretty good at this. I've been doing it a long time. He was really wedged in there. And when I got to him, I tried to get alongside of him. He was up against a rock wall on this side. And it was pinched off pretty small. And I tried to get alongside of him. I couldn't. And, you know, of course, I'm shaking his leg to see if he's alive. And he's unresponsive. So I get him out. And then I look at everything. His PO2 is fine. Loop's open, out of his mouth. This tank's, he didn't have gauges. He had transmitters. But this tank was empty. This tank had gas. So he died with almost a full tank on this side. He couldn't reach he could reach the regulator on this side, and he emptied this tank fairly quickly. We found out later when we went over the air integrated computer. But he couldn't get to this tank. And it was right here. And you could tell, it looked like he brushed up against it several times because the air integration, you can see the pressure. And he lost about several hundred PSI out of that tank trying to get to it before he drowned. So, but anyway, so then I have to take him out. Now he's positively buoyant because he's got one tank empty and one tank full. So his body's tipping like this to the side. And of course I have my scooter there because I scootered in. So this body's very awkward. He's a really big guy. And he's really unbalanced. And I'm trying to carry him and push a scooter and keep a track of where the line's at because it's almost zero visibility. And I'm heading out, and all of a sudden, I see a light coming the other way. And it's Ward. And he gets to within about 2 feet of me. And I'm like, oh, good. I can hand him my scooter so I can have both hands. And I reach down and I unclip my scooter and I hold it out and he looks at me. I'm going this way. He leaves. I'm like, I'm holding a 300-pound dead guy over here and a scooter on this hand. I'm like, yeah, I can't believe you just did that. And I remembered seeing a scooter and a stage bottle clipped to the line. And I thought, oh, maybe he's going to get that and he'll come follow me and I can get my scooter then. So I'm heading out and I'm toting this body, and several times I lost the line because the visibility is so bad, and I'm like, oh shit. So I got to stop and leave him somewhere, and then I scooter around until I can find the line, then I got to go find him, then I got to go find the line. And then I'm toting him out, and I look down and I see a light behind me. And I'm like, okay, at least Ward's with me. And I get him all the way out. And then I got to hold on to him and decompress. I didn't have too much decompression because I run my PO2 pretty high. So I'm holding this body, and I clear, and then I head up to the surface. And all the sheriff's departments there, and the paramedics and everybody. And so Patrick jumps in the water, and we get the body up on the platform. And about that time, Ward's dive buddy, Rob, looks at me and he goes, hey, is Ward down there decompressing? I said, I think so. I said, I don't know, I couldn't see. And he goes, so you don't even know if he's out? I'm like, oh shit. And this is why I closed the cave. And so I said, oh, let me go check. So they're dealing with the body, and I go back into the cavern, and normally, it's crystal clear water, you can see wall to wall. You couldn't see anything. So I had to swim the entire cavern looking for this guy. No, he's not in there. So I swim back out, and I told Patrick, I said, give me my scooter. He goes, why? I said, I got to go in and find Ward. So I grab my scooter, take off, go back in, and I'm scootering in near zero visibility. And at about right where I found him, I run into Ward. And I'm like this. And he goes, I'll go this way, you go that way. I said, I got him, he's out, let's go. And he's like, you got him? I said, yeah, I got him. So I turned to exit, and then I'm like, nope, I'm not leaving this guy again. You go first. So I followed him out. And then when he got back to the cavern, I handed him his oxygen bottle. You good? Yep. And I left, and we got out. So everybody got out that day. But there again, I mean, that's one of those scenarios. There's absolutely, on a rebreather, 40 minutes into a dive, full 85s. He was only at about 80-something, 85 feet deep. There's absolutely no reason I shouldn't have brought him back. Absolutely no reason. And that's the thing. Everybody says, these Monday morning quarterbacks when incidents happen, you know what I would have done? Everybody's the hero on Monday morning. No, you don't know what you'd do. Until you're in that scenario, you don't know what you'd do. And I'm sure he was very confident. He was with Dan, Divers Alert Network. He was one of their advice nurses on the phone. A very experienced diver. If you asked him, I bet he would say, I'd never panic. But guess what? So there's no reason I shouldn't have brought him home, but I didn't.
Do you know why he ended up off the loop?
Later on, I talked to the dive buddy, and they were going through this small tunnel. Now I surmise she went first, and she's very small. He's very large. When it turned and got really tight, it probably got silted out. The line's line trapped. It's laid way over to the right, which is the smallest part of the line. It was poorly run. And he was big, and he had his arm around the line. So in zero visibility, when he got stuck, if he'd have just been able to move slightly to the left, he'd have probably been able to get him. But it was real jagged and cragged. You could see the video. And his tanks were up in the back. And everybody thinks when they start side mount diving and they start venturing into restricted areas. Oh, there's a restriction. I'll try that. Because if I don't make it, I'll just back up. That sounds good. But that isn't the way it works. Kind of like putting a fish hook into your finger. Oh, if I don't like it, I'll back it out. No, you won't. Because you go in way better forwards than you do backwards. And he found that out. Because, I mean, just me getting him out, I'm pretty good at what I do. And it took me a while. So, and he was really stuck in there. So.
But I still don't know why he went off the rebreather.
So when she heard him, So I'm assuming he must have yelled or something when he got stuck. And she turned around. She said he was already in a full panic. He had spit out the loop. And she had told Stacy she was afraid to talk to me because I'd be angry with her. And I said, why would she think I would be angry with her? Because she didn't stay to help her friend. And I said, he was big and she was small. I said, panic divers will kill you. They have adrenaline on their side. Even if you were the big person and he was the small person, he had adrenaline, he would still probably kill you. Panic divers will kill you. So anyway, when I talked to her, she said he was in a full panic. She goes, he was trying to kill me. I said, yeah, that's what happens. That's what panic divers do. So that's why I teach my out-of-air share drills differently than almost every instructor on the planet, is for that exact reason. Because 99.9% of all instructors teach that you do an air share like this. And the first thing I teach is that's going to get you killed. Because in classroom, that's fine. And the other person says, oh, well, thank you, kind sir. Shall we exit now? Oh, by all means, after you. And that's not how it goes down. I've been in 4 real-life air shears, and they're all violent, and they're all over with very quickly. And I tell people, most people will not survive. There's been numerous body recoveries where one or both of the victims had gas. They fought to the death over a regulator. And a panicked fight is over with quickly, and it's very violent. So that's why I teach air shears completely different, and the only people that teach it that way pretty much are ones that I've instructed. So, but it's for that reason, to protect yourself against a panic diver. And just like when I rescued Josh Bratchley out of that cave in Tennessee, and that was one of the first rescues where there was footage of it. And people said, you're an instructor trainer, you're an instructor trainer examiner. You know the out-of-gas diver always goes in the front. You had the victim behind you. Yeah. Because guess what? I'm the one that found him. I know the way out. And nobody's going between me and going home. I had him, I said, you're going to be on my leg. I'm going to get you out of here. And that's what we did. I said, you keep a panic victim behind you, not in front of you. And that's the thing between cave diving and cave rescues. They're 2 completely different animals. One has not much to do with the other one. Anyway, that's that story. Not a great story. Rescue stories are way better than dead body stories, but that was just one of those where, why? And that's the problem. That's the question we get with so many of these body recoveries is, why did it have to happen?